Hello, everybody. Welcome to Film Family, and today we're going to be reviewing the new Sonic the Hedgehog movie. I don't know why I said new. The new Sonic, the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie. It's a big deal, I guess. And so obviously a movie that had some controversy. It's been getting promoted for a while now. It had that first trailer, which was, not too well received by people, and then they had to redo the animation, definitely improving in my opinion. I'm pretty sure in everybody's opinion. And now we have this movie. And I'm going to be honest here. I expected to hate this movie. I went in thinking I would hate this movie. And this is surprisingly not an awful movie. It's pretty good. I like this movie for the most part. And honestly, this isn't a high bar to set, but it's probably the best video game movie I've seen. I can't think of
over
one.
Ready Player One or
That's
the
not-
Pac-Man
that's
movie
not-
with what's his name, Adam Sandler.
Pixel. First of all, yes, it's better than Pixels.
I don't know.
Second of
man.
all, Ready Player One's not a video game movie because the game doesn't exist.
I guess
Because that's saying
it's still a video game movie.
but it's not a video based off of a video game. I should say that adaptation.
That makes
Yeah.
I'm gonna think of one.
Well, I'm a big Sonic fan actually.
Are we all? You do?
Are you?
I used to
Sonic
play
fan?
Sonic.
Yeah,
like I said.
I've been playing Sonic since I was young, and I actually like Sonic the racing game. I think All Star Racers or something. I don't know if you guys are probably too old for that, but it was a Mario Kart ripoff, and it wasn't as good as Mario Kart, but it's a solid game. And I played I think Sonic Unleashed was a game that people hated where he's turns evil. There's the classic arcade ones. I've played a lot of Sonic, and I'm a big fan of the world of Sonic, the world of Sega, his buddies, Tails, Knuckles, Shadow, of course. And I just think it's a cool character in a cool world. And to see that put in movie form, for the most part, was pretty fun. But yeah.
Yeah, I feel I like Sonic too, but this is one of the hardest things to turn into a movie, I think. Street Fighter, all these other games you can turn into because you can kind of make up a story, but how you're going to make it a live action movie, try to do the Pikachu thing, but there's no real human actors in Sonic, was very difficult. I thought this movie was going to be really, really bad. I'm not going to say it was good, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Mainly, and honestly, it's because of Jim Carrey. I feel he actually saved the movie because I feel I didn't really like Sonic's actor. I don't know who played his voice, but he had some bad dialogue. The main character and his wife, their interactions together, they were trying to show how solid and friendly they were, but it came off as corny in my opinion. But Jim Carrey, he had some very Carrey-esque moments where he would move his hands and stuff, and I liked how they had the gloves, and I feel he did a good job with Dr. Robotnik, or I don't know, we call him Dr. Eggman, or
Either way.
Yeah, either way. This is one of the movies that I was looking forward to seeing just because, the fact that the filmmaker and the studio listened to the audience, redesigning Sonic. I thought that was such an admirable thing to do.
It's I can't even say anything about that, to be honest,
Yeah.
because you needed to do that.
That
was come on, it looked awful.
Yes, but then, we've had other movies where they've said, no, we know better, and we're still going to do it this way. And they actually did. To their credit, they said, hey, they delayed the movie. And I am a huge Sonic fan as well. And I really, really, I don't know if it's because I have a kid or anything like that, but I really adored this movie.
How long have you been playing Sonic?
When the very first Sonic, since this, I don't know if he's a Genesis or a Sega Master System, where he's at, but I've been playing Sonic since then. And I got Sonic on the Switch when it came out as well. So
Is it good?
Yeah, it's actually it's basically
Oh, really? A remake? Oh, nice.
So for me, a lot was riding on this movie. I think this movie, especially for the demographic that is going for it is a kids movie. But when I judge a kids movie is will adults taking the kids like this movie? Will the people that love Sonic, the '90s people, it came out in the '90s, will they love Sonic as well? Is there enough throwbacks? And for me, there was. I really enjoyed this movie, and we'll talk more about it. But Jim Carrey, yeah.
All right, well, yeah. So let's talk about Jim Carrey because Jim Carrey has done movies since the '90s, obviously, and he's even done some comedies. But a lot of his career these past 20 years have been him transitioning into dramas or romantic comedies. He did that one movie Yes Man, I think it was called. That type of comedy. He's just been in kind of an interesting group of movies. And like Edward Norton this decade, he's appeared in very few movies, but it seems like he's clearly selective. He saw something in this movie. And I gotta say, he killed it. I was just smiling when he was talking because Jim Carrey, when in our comedy video when we were doing our favorite comedies, me and Prince both mentioned that we're not like big fans of old comedies. But for me, if there's ever an old comedy that I like, it's because Jim Carrey's in it. Yeah. He's incredible. Just that he's like an actor that anybody else could be so annoying in his roles, but he brings such a charisma to it, and just I love Jim Carrey as a comedic actor. In this movie, he's fantastic. There's like multiple lines. There's a great one where he's talking to this guy, and he's like. And he's super, like, he's an egomaniac. And he's like, I've done better things when I was a toddler than you'll ever do in your whole life. And he goes, since I've been spitting out formulas since you've been spitting up formula. And I thought that was, I don't know what to say about that. It's a 10 out of 10 line.
I also like how he said stuff like, where he's like, pin yourself against the wall.
It's great. Like, he's just having energy. There's parts where he's just doing Carrey screams. And I just had so much fun watching. Like, it was making me smile. Yeah. And the kids who were at the theater, like, I was looking around and like they didn't really get it. Like they were laughing more at Sonic's jokes, and I was like,
the adults got it, but the kids,
but the adults were like kind of happy. And so it's a smart move on the movie to have this comedic character that is the protagonist and the antagonist. But Jim Carrey was so cartoonish in the best way possible. I loved him in this movie.
Yeah, I feel like he was the character that they spent the most attention to. I felt like his robots looked better than Sonic did. And his technology and stuff, like the CGI surrounding him, I felt like they paid more attention to that. And that's one of the reasons why I really liked his character.
I actually like the CGI on Sonic quite a bit. Besides of like some of the back parts of his hair. Like
that was my issue.
Some of the hair, it didn't seem like they were they had proper motion tracking.
Well, they tried too much to make it like that quill. So parts of those quills were sticking out, but the majority of the spikes is like a uniform.
But they weren't moving like with movement and wind like properly.
Exactly. And that's why I felt like his robots, because they also kept them close to the video game, which is what I like, with the spheres that kind of float around in the plane and with the outfit.
But like from his shoes to his like stomach to his face, I like that. Like he looked like a cartoon.
So, Sonic was cool, but I feel like Dr. Robotnik looked, as far as the CGI surrounding him, was better. With the robots and the weapons. I did like the slow motion scenes though. I felt like that was kind of like copying, but
you can tell by watching this movie that like actually pretty much watching any character with super speed post 2014 that they saw Days of Future Past and like we need to replicate that.
I don't care.
How much does that cost? Let's do that.
Quicksilver in the MCU did that for a hot second. The Flash and Justice League did that for a hot second. Sonic is now doing it for a hot second. And I say this with the utmost seriousness. Sonic did it the second best. He outdid the MCU Quicksilver and he outdid the Flash and Justice League. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I definitely.
Justice League wasn't.
That scene was not bad though. That scene wasn't that bad.
What I liked about this movie too, it had a lot of homages and callbacks, and it had a lot of lip service to the fans in certain things, and so I don't know. I commend. This is one of those movies that I've said like just give the audience what they want, and they kind of listen to that. And I think this was a first-time director, if I'm not mistaken, and I just think that's amazing in itself because it didn't feel like a first-time director. It didn't feel like, oh, okay, this guy doesn't know what he's doing or whatever. And I don't know. I mean, I don't really have much negative things to say about it. I mean, the story, it is what it is. I mean, you can't really. I feel like if they do another one, which I'm sure they're going to do now, they don't have to tell the whole backstory and all that stuff.
I'm actually really happy they skipped the fish out of water stuff because if I have to watch another one of those like type of stories,
and they didn't do that,
I'm gonna go insane.
And that was a brilliant thing on them that they didn't do that. And I don't know. I mean, I love Sonic. I love the interaction. I actually loved his interaction with. I loved his bucket list thing too.
I thought that was so corny. I was just about to
say
that.
I like that.
He was like, make a best friend, and then they're like.
Right, don't spoil it too much.
It was
corny.
It is corny, but
stuff, but
it's
like
Sonic.
It's a kids movie.
Yeah. First of all, I didn't know it was going to be a kids movie until I saw it.
I
thought it was supposed to be like a Transformers movie, like a PG-13. That's what I thought because everybody was supposed to be talking about it. Like,
no.
All right, well,
and then the audacity of it to come out on Valentine's Day too.
Thank you for that segue because I'm actually going to make a comparison to the Transformers movies. All right. At the beginning of this movie, this isn't a spoiler, but if I guess it is, but it's not. They show his like world, where he lives on with the hills and all that from the video game, and
which is really cool to see.
Yeah, and it was cool, and he's running across and stuff, and then they get to the real world, and I couldn't help but think, what movie does this remind me of? Oh yeah, Bumblebee. When they spend like 5 minutes on Cybertron, it's like, oh, I want to see that. Oh, Optimus, let me see that, and it's like, nope, we're back on Earth. Yeah. I felt like that. I wanted to see more of the hills, and I wanted to see Tails or Shadow or Knuckles.
Maybe not Tails, Knuckles.
I like Knuckles or Tails. I like all three of them, or even the girl. What's her name? You know what I'm talking about?
No, actually, I don't.
You know what I'm talking?
I do, but I'm trying
Whatever
to.
her name. There's a bunch.
No. There's this.
There's a bunch of them, but I would like to have seen some of them in this movie. I don't know if they chose to intentionally not put that because they were like, well, we'll get a sequel. I think that's kind of a weird thing that movies are so guaranteed to get sequels now that they would make a choice like that. Like,
But maybe it's to make it cheaper because if you do more CGI characters, that costs more money.
But all right, like I don't know if that's how it is, but it might be. So
because to do a whole world of CGI would be very expensive, you know. So maybe they wanted to test it first to see if they had.
You can't just.
Did you guys stay for the credits?
I did the after credit scene. I did stay. For
like
that.
the direct after credit scene.
Yeah, there was one directly after. Did you stay the whole time?
Yeah.
Is there a whole one?
Yeah, we'll talk about.
Camera.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I didn't know that, but
No, we're talking about the one where.
no, he's talking about after, like probably you didn't see
like
that.
10 minutes after, because I left
Yeah,
right as soon as I saw.
after the after.
I saw that. I saw that.
He's talking about something else.
Oh, damn.
But yeah, I mean,
There's two.
I don't know if it's
yeah, I
like
saw one.
kind of getting in the way of artistic integrity to tell a story that they were restricted, or it's just budgetary. Either way, like I kind of wanted to see more people, but I'm not gonna complain because Sonic in this movie is actually really good. You don't agree, but you do.
Oh, I
can
agree.
tell. He was.
I
really
was a
good.
kid in a candy store. Honestly, I was excited about this movie. I'm like, I wish Taylor was old enough to have seen it with me. But
Yeah, I mean, like he's energetic. He's doing, and there's a couple times where he'll say a line. It's like, oh, that was corny. But
Yeah.
again, like watch any kid movie, even some of your favorites. They'll have a couple lines that you're like, all right, that was lame.
This
But
was
kids
all
like,
those lines.
I disagree. But I just really like Sonic. Honestly, I think I liked all of the main people in this movie. Like even James Marsden, he was pretty good.
I liked him in it.
And I didn't expect him to like him because I haven't seen him in too many movies. The only movies I know him from is X-Men, and then he's in Anchorman 2 as Jack Lime.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know too much about him, but I was like, he's whatever. But he was pretty good in this movie.
He's always. I mean, Enchanted. I shouldn't say that out loud, but
He was in there.
yeah, he plays the Prince Charming guy. Yeah,
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
We were talking about it the other day, man.
yeah. So
Amy Adams, the damn near
That's
started a
been a
career,
while.
yo.
yeah. So I've always liked him. I've always liked, and I liked that relationship. I liked him in it. Like I think the thing is that you have to know what kind of movie you're in, but at the same time, it wasn't like he was playing it. He played it straight in a way, which gave Jim Carrey a lot of like contrast in that way because Jim Carrey was very cartoony, which
He was
is
a little comedic though.
Who?
James Marsden.
he was, but not like it. I mean, some people when they're in those kid movies, they're like a lot comedic. Like they're almost like their motion and everything like that. I mean, he still pretended to be a sheriff, and you still thought, okay, this guy could be a sheriff, in that way.
Yeah, I mean, besides that, I thought it was a pretty good movie. Some of the song choices felt like they were for a kids movie, so I didn't get mad at them.
Yeah.
Like you said, the slow motion sequences were pretty cool. I thought the last last little sequence went on probably like 2 or 3 minutes too long, but it was still pretty good. Just could have been shortened a little bit. But I gotta say, man, like Jim Carrey has some quotables. There's a couple lines in this movie that I was like, are these too good for this movie? Like the script for this movie was not bad.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of bad scripts just in general in movies recently, and like there were some quotables in this movie. I did not walk in this movie expecting there to hear a quote, because when they wrote the script for this movie, I can't imagine they said to themselves, Jim Carrey's going to be in this.
No,
because he's not in a lot of
exactly. They
movies,
couldn't have done
and if he is going to be in a Sonic movie? So I don't know if they wrote the script for some, with him in mind or like for somebody else, but he like ate those lines up. He was delivering them.
Did
exactly
he improvise any of them? Do we know that?
Some of them have to be.
He had to.
Like some of them were too good for that movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just hating on it. 'Cause
Yeah.
Good job to the screenwriter. He did a pretty good job. But yeah.
One thing I will add is I liked how they incorporated the rings.
Oh, okay.
Because the whole purpose of like Sonic is to collect
Collect the
rings,
rings,
but
yeah.
why?
Why?
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They never
what is
talk
the
about
reason
it.
for it? Yeah.
So they did get.
They did a pretty good
creative.
job.
Yeah, that was pretty nice. But
There's also one thing in this movie that I couldn't tell if it was a dig at another video game company and a character. I'm not going to mention it because it's kind of a spoiler. But
I'm confused.
anyway, yeah. Do you guys have anything else to add? I didn't talk about any negatives. There was just a couple times in the movie where I was like, that wasn't funny. But besides that, like, I legitimately don't. I'm so surprised at how not bad this movie was.
Did you go with a big audience?
Yeah, my whole theater was like filled up.
I go to a theater where there's nobody.
Okay.
Purpose.
Yeah, I went with a mixed audience,
I don't
like
wanna be around
of kids and adults, and I was watching them, and all of them ate it up. Like the kids were, eating it up at certain points, and then the adults were like so excited about certain callbacks and certain things. And I'll talk more about it when we do our rating. But so it hit the audiences that it needed to hit.
Yeah, I mean, besides some kind of, I guess, cliche stuff and some occasional corny jokes, like, this movie's so surprisingly not bad. Like, it was honestly, top 2 movie of the decade.
Yeah.
I'll say this and The Gentleman.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a solid movie, and I'm gonna give it a 7.3 out of 10.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it a 6.5 because for me, I didn't want to see this movie on Valentine's Day. To be honest, I don't think anybody wanted to see it. And then also, I didn't think it was gonna be a kids movie. And for me, I feel like there are better kids movies.
Wait, question. Do we all agree this is better than Star Wars?
Which one?
I don't know. I would rather watch Star Wars again. To be honest,
It's not me.
Yeah.
You agree?
I'd say it's tied for it. You got to remember, I still liked Rise of Skywalker somewhat.
Did you?
Somewhat.
well, no, just like from a pure movie. Like if you're not a Star Wars fan, I would rather watch that than the Sonic movie.
Sonic for me, like it did everything it needed to do. It's almost like now it's not going to rate up there with Bumblebee for me because I felt Bumblebee had a better script, but
It definitely did, even with John Cena.
but I'm always about giving the audience what they want, and I can tell you, I'm going to split my thing, but I'm going to give it as me myself loving this. I'd give it probably a 7.5. But then if you have kids or anyone else that you could share that experience with, then I would give it probably an 8.5 in that way. Because I think kids are going to eat this up. Like, there's not been someone like that coming in, and this is a new generation and stuff like that. And I can see kids falling in love with Sonic, just like we did.
Merchandising.
Yeah, just like we did. I mean, he was from a video game. So you can imagine it. I can see cartoons coming again, back into the swing of things. Because he's a cool character. He runs fast. Kids love that stuff. So I think if you have kids, it's a no-brainer to see it with. I saw it alone, but so I would give it an 8 for me, which is kind of high. Because I said an 8 means a must-see, but I'm a Sonic fan, so I had to see it, honestly. So, yeah, and then an 8.5
I'm still like, not in shock, but I'm just thinking about why this movie is not bad. Like, I just
Because of Jim Carrey, literally.
No,
it's not.
It's not. No, because there's about him that I like. Like, I don't know.
Like what?
Like, literally, like, almost every scene. There was not any, like, a full scene that I was
It was
awful.
well put together. Like, it was actually...
Just so much better than it should have been.
I think it had...
Definitely much better than it should have
It
been.
had care.
This movie should have been terrible. It came out in February, which it's not like February's not a bad movie month, but it's like if you're not a superhero movie, there's been very few, I think, successful February movies, especially on Valentine's Day. They had like this kind of disaster with the marketing and like, I mean, people were just, this movie's supposed to fail, and it was good. Like, I wouldn't see this movie again in theaters because like of my age, but if I was a kid, like,
oh, they're gonna
give
see
this movie a solid 10.
That's what I was saying.
Watch this movie again.
I mean, at home, maybe, yeah. By myself, maybe. Depends what time it is.
They got my respect when they redid the animation or the.
Yeah, there were so many VFX artists who had to like work hard for that and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah. If you saw this movie, let us know what you thought.
Take your kids to see it if you have kids.
Where does it rank among your video game movies?
Oh, that's a good
among
question.
That esteemed catalog of video game movies and
masterpieces.
Yeah. Let us know what you thought, and like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you next time. Thanks for watching.